All right, folks, welcome back. We are in top 4 of the CardArt local here in Sunnyvale, California. I'm Zach.
He's Mitchell. Sorry, I'm at my work so often.
No, you're good. It's all. This should be fun, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for this match.
Yeah.
We've seen AJ versus Diego.
Yeah.
AJ,
Let's just jump into the teams right quick.
okay.
Show off these really cool teams because AJ is gonna run. It's running something a little bit different. It's gonna be a something similar to what you ran. A pretty hard trick room team, wouldn't you say?
Oh, Trick Room's very nice. Yeah, flip the tables and they can't do anything if you call the turns. Right? We're seeing a Lilligant-Hisui form, Hatterene, Indeedee female, Armarouge, Torkoal, Ursaluna. So a lot of big, bulky, and slow attackers to make use of that trick.
Yep. Only real fast thing is going to be that Indeedee. That's the Lilligant. Sorry, the Hisui and Lilligant's going to be the one fast thing that Diego has to worry about. Otherwise, it's all the slow things. But Diego does have some slow Pokemon of his own. Going to be having that Amoonguss as well as the Iron Hands, slow options, and the Flutter Mane is going to be able to benefit from the sun that the Torkoal can set. So that's something that AJ is going to have to worry about a little bit. But main thing is just what can Diego do to not get utterly melted by eruption in Trick Room?
Well, initially you would be thinking Amoonguss, right? Amoonguss is usually people's go-to answer for Trick Room, for Rain. It's very good glue. However, Trick Room players, if they're running hard Trick Room, they know this. Why would they want to auto lose to a Pokemon that's so prevalent in the format? So we're seeing a lot of adaptations here. I see the Lilligant-Hisui form can ignore Rage Powder. We're seeing Hatterene with the Magic Bounce. So there's been cases where Amoonguss Terras tries to spore Hatterene, gets spored back and put to sleep itself. Even Indeedee has Grass Terra. Torkoal can underspeed it and Trick Room outspeed it and knock it out with an eruption. So,
Armarouge also has the Grass Terra.
oh yeah.
Ursaluna's got the Flame Orb, so it can not get spored. So
Armarouge's got the expanding force, boosted by the Psychic Train. I don't think Amoonguss likes that very much.
yeah, like this whole team is like it's Trick Room, so Amoonguss should be good against it. But like modern Trick Room teams very much punish Amoonguss's very existence, right?
Yeah, it is Water Terra, so he could look to mitigate some damage and maybe try to land a spore. Only one thing can Terra. There is another option in Iron Hands too. With Fake Out, it normally would be able to stop the Trick Room turns, but Psychic Surge would have something to say about that one.
Yes, and this Iron Hands is Terra Grass, so it can't. Its Terra option would just make it more weak to Eruption, which is not probably what Diego's going to be looking for. But we're going to jump into game 1 here. We're going to be seeing a Gen 8 Classic, the Hatterene and Indeedee lead, versus a more modern lead of Landorus and Chien-Pao.
I mean, Landorus has been here for a while, but with its buddy cat, Chien-Pao, it is new. Yeah. And Chien-Pao does benefit the Landorus here. Landorus is a physical attacker, so with that Sword of Ruin, it's looking to cause a lot of mayhem on this Indeedee and Hatterene lead. Hatterene and Indeedee aren't really they're Trick Room setters, right?
Yeah,
they
want to get a trick.
They try to be bulky, but I don't know about this Chien-Pao Sword of Ruin combo.
Yeah.
It can deal a lot of damage.
Sword of Ruin is definitely going to be big here. I think the other thing is to note is that this Chien-Pao has Ice Spinner, so it can remove the Psychic Terrain, which is kind of really annoying for these Trick Room teams. They don't want to have to deal with Fake Out, and they don't want to have to deal with lowering the damage from the Expanding Force. But Follow Me from Indeedee is going to keep Hatterene safe from this U-turn from the Landorus, and with the Sword of Ruin, it does a huge amount of damage to Indeedee.
Yeah, Indeedee did not take that well at all, but honestly, if you're a Trick Room player, which is AJ's case, you kind of want Indeedee to faint. You want it to faint and get in a new Pokemon. We did see Diego go for the Ice Spinner. Regardless of what he chose, it's going for Indeedee now because that Follow Me. So AJ does lose the Psychic Terrain. Iron Hands does enter the field with Fake Out ready for that Psychic Terrain that's now gone. But at what cost? Chien-Pao lost its Focus Sash.
Yep, the
Rocky Helmet.
Rocky Helmet did break the Focus Sash, and Hatterene is totally free to set up that Trick Room, which is really, really nice for AJ. This is a Trick Room team. You kind of want to get Trick Room up, and so AJ did do that and get a free switch at the same time. So now has get to send in whatever she wants to have 4 turns of Trick Room to utilize it with. Only caveat is Armarouge does not have the Psychic Terrain anymore, and there's no way to get it back.
Top of that, neither of these Pokemon know Protect. They've gone all in on the hard Trick Room. I think that they are assuming they keep Psychic Terrain up, so there's no need to Protect in the face of a Fake Out, but uh-oh, we see it's gone. So
yep.
Armarouge and Hatterene are not in the safest of positions. One of them's gonna flinch probably. One of them's gonna move. They can cause a lot of damage.
And one of them is going to be tearing. In this case, it is going to be the Armarouge tearing to the grass type in this case, wanting to potentially dodge a sucker punch, I think, from this Chien-Pao. But Chien-Pao's not going to fall for that, just going straight for a protect. Diego looking to start stalling out this Trick Room sooner rather than later. The Armarouge did indeed go, or sorry, Hatterene went for the Dazzling Gleam, a sizable chunk to the Armarouge, but does not get to KO the Chien-Pao because of that protect. We're going to see that Armarouge also going for a Heat Wave in this case, doing another nice chunk of damage to the Iron Hands, but the Heavy Slam just taking out Hatterene right off the bat.
Yeah, that is maybe not something you wanted to lose so far. These Trick Room teams, Hatterene is really big focal point. It's your way to deal with dark. You know, Armarouge is a psychic type, doesn't really like Chien-Pao, and now it's gone. Chien-Pao is still a dark type, it didn't Terra, so you can't expanding force it. You have to Heat Wave. It's not very accurate. You have Torkoal though, and Torkoal can help.
Yep, Torkoal can absolutely help. There's 3 more turns of Trick Room. This is a Terrifier, as most Torkoal are, but most importantly, this is a Choice Specs Torkoal. So
Yeah.
This thing can do a huge amount of damage with Eruption. One small caveat is that Chien-Pao does have Sucker Punch, so it can weaken the Eruption a little bit. Probably not enough to keep Chien-Pao around, but it is something that AJ definitely has to worry about.
Yeah, Sucker Punch would keep its friends alive, perhaps. You have to wonder if Iron Hands would want to switch out to maybe reset a Fake Out, lay another one down later on to stall out this Trick Room. As soon as Trick Room's gone, it's kind of Diego's game, and we're seeing that Sucker Punch is coming out into the Torkoal, which did go for Eruption. So, weaken the power, of course, Chien-Pao is not, it's going to melt.
Yeah. Chien-Pao is a popsicle now. A melted popsicle at this point. It weakened the Sucker Punch did weaken Eruption, but not enough because it still got the KOs it was looking for, right? So it's now a 2v2 at this point, where Diego is forced into his Choice Scarf Landorus and that Water Urshifu, which is going to be pretty important for resisting Eruption, but you know it's also weak to that
Expanding Force.
Expanding Force, effectively.
Yeah, we want to be worrisome of that. Expanding Force isn't nearly as strong as before, but Urshifu's not necessarily a bulky Pokemon. Armarouge is holding the Mind Plate. Sometimes I've seen him hold Twisted Spoons, the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes Lifeline. Without the Psychic Terrain, though, you do have to wonder, can Urshifu take one? We're going to have to see.
Yeah.
On top of that, I'm not sure how Diego will be able to break through this Armarouge. I mean, Trick Room's going to wear off, but you got to take a Torkoal Eruption again. It's not a full health, but it's enough damage. Combined with this Armarouge, we may be seeing a knockout.
Yeah, the Landorus also is a Choice Scarf on Diego's side, so it has no way of protecting itself from an Eruption. And in the sun, I'm not sure if even a Terra Water from Urshifu Aqua Jet will be able to weaken the Eruption enough for Landorus to survive. Choice Specs are really powerful. But yeah, we do see that Urshifu does indeed commit the Terrestrialization. It is going to Terra Water, get away from its Psychic weakness. Nice to take neutral damage from that. But we see Torkoal content to just keep firing off Eruptions, and Landorus
Wow. I am surprised by that. Landorus is going down without any say in the world. Urshifu's still around, but it's gonna have to answer this Expanding Force. Does it take it? No.
Mind Plate pushing that over the edge in case it wasn't before. So yeah, AJ looked a little rocky at the beginning. Didn't quite get the cleanest of early turn Trick Rooms, but Torkoal and Armarouge were definitely enough to close that out. So that is going to be game 1 to AJ there. It's going to be up to Diego to adjust. What do you think if you're AJ or if you're Diego? How do you adjust?
You know, Diego played towards his endgame well. He was identifying, okay, my Urshifu can Terra Water. It can maybe tank some stuff. I just gotta lay down a Sucker. You know, hope for the best, right? It didn't work out this game.
Yeah, I think the Choice Specs really put a big wrench in that. Where you're normally like, oh, I think I know how much Torkoal's going to do, and then the Choice Specs just is way more than you expect.
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely. So one of the things he can maybe look to do is waste a little bit more of AJ's turns. He took a knockout on Indeedee and another one on Hatterene. The Hatterene, you know, you would have liked that to stay around a little bit longer, but Indeedee going down, Indeedee's not an offensive Pokemon. Now she just brought our Armarouge in and just started laying down the law.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a weird thing like the Trick Room teams put you in where like it's that weird catch-22 where you're like you want to get knockouts because that's how you win the game, but you like don't want to get knockouts too quickly because then you give them free switches under Trick Room to Torkoal, for example, which just wants to get a free switch to just start throwing out huge Eruptions.
Yeah, Landorus being in the back, I, I assume Diego was thinking he would be able to stall the turns out, and we didn't see that come to fruition. He just
Yeah.
let Trick Room happen even faster by knocking out those Pokemon. Um, I wonder if like a Landorus lead here would be good and just Rock Slide.
Yeah,
As you heard me say before, there's Rock Sliders.
they're definitely. That's what kind of what I was expecting when I saw the Landorus Chien-Pao lead. I was like, oh, you just Ice Spinner and just spam Rock Slide and just
Yeah.
do a bunch of damage, but don't KO anything.
Exactly.
And then you can get the KOs at the right time when you have enough wiggle room to stall out the ends of that Trick Room.
Perhaps
But,
you even flinch.
yeah, like you get a flinch on whoever's using Trick Room here, and such a big advantage because then you can actually like pick up a KO. Probably.
Yeah,
on
AJ would
something.
probably start looking at game 3 right off of turn 1.
Yeah, that would be
Impact.
really, really bad. So we're gonna have to see how Diego does indeed adjust to that. They definitely have the tools for it.
And does AJ need to adjust? I don't really think so.
I don't know.
It wasn't so clean of a Trick Room, but it worked out. You know?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know if any of the Hisui Pokemon would be necessary, but it is going to be a bit of a switch up right out of the gate. It's going to be Torkoal and Lilligant lead from AJ, and Diego is going to be leading with Iron Hands and Chien-Pao.
Yeah, so we're seeing a bit of a change up, and maybe it's understandable to say bit. This is a big change up. There's no Trick Room on the board
No.
right now, so
The one fast mode that she has.
yeah, exactly. Iron Hands is on the field with a fake out, but it could be in the back.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mind games here. Do they go for that? Do they not? Iron Hands could Grass Terra to avoid a Sleep Powder. I wouldn't advise it in front of a Torkoal, but
Yeah, a
you
little
do
bit
you.
risky.
Yeah.
The Lilligant also has the Terra Ghost, so any potential fake outs into that slot could be null and void on a Terra Ghost. So definitely in a tricky spot. This lead really puts you in an awkward spot. You kind of have to call the turn right. We'll have to see what goes.
Oh, we're seeing a fake out on Torkoal, and that's actually pretty good because Torkoal's choice specs means it can't protect or nothing. It's just got to eat that, and it can't do any damage right now. In fact, it impacts its later eruptions. Seeing a Solar Blade. I have never seen that animation before. It looks so cool. It does just under half to Iron Hands. Seeing the Ice Spinner take this Lilligant down to Focus Sash. So, in danger of Sucker Punch, perhaps?
Perhaps. Yeah, it could be definitely in danger of Sucker Punch. This Chien-Pao does have Crunch and not Sacred Sword, so that's like the one move option. But it does have Sucker Punch, so could go for Sucker Punch, but Lilligant could, of course, not go for an attacking move. It could go for either Sleep Powder or an After You Eruption. That is still very much on the table
Yeah,
here.
that would completely bypass the Sucker.
Yeah.
But then, what if Diego reads that, and then it would be better attack, or in that case, you Sucker Punch? There's a lot of mind games.
Yeah. So Diego not wanting to play any of those, just going to protect with the Chien-Pao, and it is going to be the After You and presumably the Eruption or maybe the Heat Wave. We'll have to see. My Spanish is not the best, but it is just going to be straight for an Eruption, and Iron Hands is going
Wow.
to tank that attack just barely. Follow-up Drain Punch going to bring Torkoal below half and heal up Iron Hands a little bit, but probably going to be in KO range from just about anything.
So that was a good move to lock into, but is it now?
Is
Not
it? Yeah,
so much.
it was.
Is that a half health eruption? I mean, Chien-Pao, like, it's gonna evaporate into the clouds if it gets hit by this eruption, right?
Yeah.
It does have a Focus Sash keeping it alive. It's got to worry about whether it should Sucker Punch or not.
Chien-Pao sweating for sure.
Yeah, I wonder how impactful that fake out damage was from Iron Hands, letting it survive. Like that.
Probably was the difference maker given how we saw the damage roll, but AJ is going to keep Torkoal around for later. Wants to keep it around, and Indeedee is going to hit the field, so Sucker Punch no longer an option. So this Lilligant might be taking matters into its own hands to KO this Chien-Pao.
We were seeing Solar. I believe that's in reference to Solar
The
Blade.
Solar Blade once again. This is going to be, I think it's going to be into the Chien-Pao. There it is, and brings it almost down to the Focus Sash. Does a ton of damage, and ooh, that's a really good option.
Wow.
Beats Ice Spinner on the Indeedee switching in, so Psychic Terrain immediately cleared from the field before it gets to benefit AJ at all.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, Indeedee just came in here for no reason. It took half of a solo the Drain Punch. I mean, the partner is gone. If it is a Hatterene in the back, we could look at a Trick Room. But I wonder if that was too much damage. You don't have Psychic Terrain up anymore, so you're still in danger of Sucker Punches. Armarouge in particular is big danger.
Yeah, Armarouge, it's tricky. You could follow me away a potential Sucker Punch, but then the Drain Punch probably follows up and KOs the Indeedee. A very crucial damage roll with the Sword of Ruin that the Iron Hands Drain Punch does. if I get 2-hit KOs in Indeedee, that's really big. If it was a 3-hit KO, that'd be very, very different here. But Chien-Pao is going to protect. This could be dangerous. This could be a free Trick Room.
Yeah. Yeah, follow me. That's all you got to do in this situation. If you're setting up Trick Room, you want to avoid damage at all costs on your You're going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. As we saw, Chien-Pao did protect. This is a Trick Room. It can't protect again, but it could switch. It could just stall out all the turns. Saw Diego get kind of close that last game. AJ doesn't have nearly the same kind of driving force, though.
Yeah, not as much wiggle room, definitely. This late Trick Room, though, might be pretty nice. The Torkoal, we know, is going to be the thing that comes back in. It's AJ's last 2 Pokemon. Armarouge and Torkoal are going to have to close this game out and go through all of Diego's last, all Diego's 4 Pokemon. We haven't even seen what he has in the back.
Yeah. On top of that, if Torkoal wants to attack, it's got to choose between a weak Eruption that could get weaker as the turns go on, or has to choose inaccurate moves like Heat Wave. It's just going to miss, right? It could burn. That would be cool, but it can miss. I don't know if AJ's willing to risk that, but I wouldn't feel entirely comfortable clicking Eruption here either.
Yeah, Eruption's awkward. You could go for Flamethrower. That's like the safe option, but, you know, you need to get 4 knockouts in like 5 turns, right? And, oh yeah, this is, if Eruption was clicked, it's going to do anything.
It's looking like a Heat Wave to me.
Yep, Heat Wave. It is going to double connect, so that is 2 of the 4 knockouts that AJ does need in this top 4 game. So Diego's brought to his final 2 Pokemon. There's still 4 more turns of Trick Room. Armarouge is going to go for a Heat Wave once again. To no avail, nothing's there.
Yeah. According to my calculations, there are 3 turns of Trick Room left, so a lot of wiggle room. EC Amoonguss doesn't have Protect, so Amoonguss is, I don't know, maybe a little scared.
Amoonguss might be scared. It cannot spore the Armarouge, and it will be most likely undersped by this. Torkoal should move first, and I don't believe that Diego has Terastallized yet, so it's got to be Terra Water on the Amoonguss, right? Well, actually, I say that, but the Flutter Mane is also Terra Water. That is also a very reasonable option.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly don't know the damage count with Torkoal being choice specs, but it's out of the sun. I don't see any sun rays.
Yeah, the sun is just,
okay. It's just a normal cloudy day.
Yeah, it's a regular day here.
Here in Northern California. Yeah. With Torkoal with choice specs and Heat Wave, it could just straight up miss the Amoonguss, right? And I don't know if it would pick up the whole knockout. But we are seeing a Terra. Yes. Oh, it's going to be a Terra Water. Which one is it?
Which one is going to become suddenly wetter than it was before? It's going to be that Amoonguss. Makes a lot of sense. I think now if you're AJ, you got to be thinking, okay, I just need to get rid of this Flutter Mane, and then Armarouge wins, right? Kind of how this got to go. And Torkoal locked into Heat Wave, no surprises there. Without the sun, not doing quite as much damage. The Pollen Puff, though, instead into the Armarouge, a large amount of damage. That is a golpe critical there. We do see another Heat Wave following up. Armarouge not able to KO that Flutter Mane, so Flutter Mane gets to go for a Dazzling Gleam, and that is enough for the double knockout. That took a turn. I was not thinking how that turn was going to play out.
That was crazy. That was insane. Like, Amoonguss just tanked that. Well, not Amoonguss, Flutter Mane. It tanked all those hits like a champ. Flutter Mane's
two Heat Waves.
Yeah, 2 Heat Waves. I mean, choice specs boosted on one. The other one, it's still strong. It's not boosted by anything, but like,
Armarouge is still a strong. Yeah, that Flutter Mane showing that special bulk is not for show. That was really good there.
Yeah. We did see Amoonguss critical hit there, but I'm not sure how much it matters because then Amoonguss underspeeds Armarouge, just
do it again. Yeah, you do the same thing again.
Coughs on it a little bit more. Yeah.
And then down Armarouge. Yeah, I think that was a really smart way of like approaching it, where you see Amoonguss and you're like, oh, it's gonna spore stuff in Trick Room, right? But realizing, oh hey, Armarouge is Terra Grass. Pollen Puff's gonna do. That was probably gonna be roughly a 2-hit KO.
Yeah, Amoonguss is not like huge slouch when it comes to it. Like, obviously, it's not the best, right? It's not stab boosted.
That's not what it's there for.
But its stats are comparable to Talonflame's, if I remember correctly. And Talonflame we think of as like this offensive beast fluttering around, right? Launching these big brave birds. So if Talonflame can do it, I suppose Amoonguss could too.
Yeah, Pollen Puff is a strong move. It is like 5 base power lower than Moonblast.
Oh.
Yeah, Pollen Puff is a strong move. So like when it's super effective, it's hitting pretty hard. It's doing some chunking things pretty well. So all right, game 3. This is so hard to call. What
the Lilligant was cool, but I feel like it was really wishy-washy.
Yeah,
and I don't mean the Pokemon. I mean in terms of how she navigated those turns. It didn't seem like there was a single turn she called like perfectly correctly.
Yeah.
There was a couple protects that she hit into.
There's no like huge value turns.
Yeah, there wasn't any. She didn't go for any sleep powders, so sleep powder is usually your last resort, right? Because that's only 75% accurate, and well, they just wake up the next turn.
Yeah,
Lilligant's so fast they could just wake up.
Yeah, and then you're like, then it's not a great spot, right?
Yeah,
Definitely playing with fire there, but
I see what you did there because
yeah,
of Torkoal.
it's a Sun team. Yeah, but either way, let's go ahead and see how these players do actually adjust. There's plenty of ways that they could. I think HA might be going back to a hard trick room option, as we do see. Yeah, it is going to be the Hatterene and Indeedee lead, and the Iron Hands Chien-Pao once again for Diego.
Yeah, so what wasn't as clean before, maybe she can make it cleaner this time. Perhaps Diego, Diego didn't have to face this at game 2, so how much does he adjust it? Does he know that, maybe knocking out Indeedee right away is not the move? It's going to be kind of weird in how he navigates this. He's like, okay, well, that was, last game basically doesn't matter. He's got to go back to game 1, and now he's probably trying to think, well, how did that progress? Kind of tricky spot for Diego.
For sure. The Chien-Pao is, of course, very annoying for these Pokemon to deal with. Is able to remove the Psychic terrain. But for this turn, right now, Iron Hands does not have Fake Out. And that might be enough for this Psychic terrain to have value here. The Iron Hands also having Heavy Slam is very important. So it's kind of forcing this Indeedee to go for the Follow Me. It's going to tank this Ice Spinner, does a solid chunk of damage. Breaks the Focus Sash, very crucially. And going to be removing that Psychic terrain, very importantly as well, as the follow-up Drain Punch. Indeedee does survive. I'm not sure who that benefits.
Yeah, that's a... I don't know. I don't even know what to say right now. Yeah, it's a little bit... It's hard to say, because Indeedee really would have wanted it to go down here. What's it going to do? Probably nothing. Probably just going to follow me again and allow itself to go down. That's one turn of Trick Room wasted. That compared to game 1, she put her foot on the gas.
It could like Dazzling Gleam for some nice chip damage. We could just see a double Dazzling Gleam from both of these two. Iron Hands probably wouldn't want to take that too much, but we saw how much the Heavy Slam did to Hatterene, and that did a lot. So I mean, it was chipped a little bit last time, so it might not be a one-hit KO, but still an awkward spot. Indeedee could switch out, save the Psychic terrain for later. I don't know, this is weird. Amoonguss is going to switch in for the Iron Hands.
So we're seeing AJ says, you know what? You need to apply pressure right now. You need to get that Psychic terrain out. Maybe combination, only one of those things, but we're seeing the Armarouge come in. The Chien-Pao protect, so basically got it in for free.
Ooh, the Psychic into the Amoonguss on the switch. Psychic terrain not needed, just gets the KO. That's when you can just get a free knockout like that with your Trick Room team. That's amazing.
So was she Psychic there? Like she read Diego's mind that he would bring in Amoonguss. I mean, Iron Hands was there.
Yeah, or just kind of expecting like, okay, Chien-Pao is going to protect anyway, so if I want to do more damage to Iron Hands, Psychic is the way to do that.
Right. That's a huge read.
Yeah.
Because Dark types are very scary for Trick Room teams, especially Indeedee, Armarouge, Hatterene. Yeah. So I suppose she called that the protect was coming.
Called it perfectly. So Iron Hands could Fake Out here, but a Heat Wave switch to Indeedee seems really safe here, but I don't know. Yeah. AJ's in the driver's seat. There's a lot of ways that she could go for here.
Yeah, we could just... Yeah, we're probably going to see this revolving door Pokemon right now, where Indeedee comes back in to block the Sucker Punch, block the
the Sucker Punch is a big thing as well.
Yeah.
The two Psychic types don't want to get hit by that. So Indeedee's bound to be coming in for one of these two. It's just which one.
We're seeing Armarouge retire. We're seeing a... Wait for it.
There's
it is
the
Indeedee.
Indeedee coming back. It barely survived, but is going to be able to set the Psychic terrain once more. Hatterene's probably going to be going for that Dazzling Gleam, trying to pick off the KO onto the Chien-Pao, but we're going to see Terra first. Hatterene is going to Terrasilize to the Water type in this case, going to resist that Heavy Slam for a turn. Going to be kind of out of the frying pan into the fire because the Wild Charge is going to be super effective later on, but I think that's okay given how offensive this team is. You can deal with Iron Hands by the time that Wild Charge comes around.
Yeah, and if I were AJ, I'd be okay with that because the Amoonguss is down. You don't have to preserve a Grass Terra anymore unless you want to block Sucker Punch if you're afraid something happens, like Chien-Pao surviving this turn, but I don't see that. We see it get
Chien-Pao does not take that Life Orb Dazzling Gleam from Hatterene well at all. Gets KO'd. Iron Hands takes a little bit better thanks to the Terra Grass. He goes for the wild charge into the Armarouge slot instead. KOs the Indeedee. If I'm AJ, I'm like, perfect. I didn't want Indeedee here anyway. I just wanted to show up and leave.
Yeah, exactly. It did its job. It laid down the psychic terrain, made sure Fake Out couldn't come out. We've seen the Flutter Mane here, but you know it's pretty fast.
Yeah, there's still a couple more turns of Trick Room, and Flutter Mane is either going to get faster or stronger here. Either one is probably not going to be that relevant because does Torkoal Eruption just KO both of these? You think?
I know that Charcoal, Terra, Fire, it needs Charcoal. So
But this is choice
respects,
specs.
but then it's not Terra.
Yeah,
So I'm not too sure how this is going to work out.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah, I was
Hatterene
gonna
can,
guess.
Hatterene can probably make the difference, like fill in the gaps there,
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely. I forgot. Yeah. Torkoal's not just the star of the show. Hatterene has been putting in work with a big psychic on that Amoonguss.
Yeah, that was
Dazzling
huge.
Gleam on Chien-Pao.
Armarouge is still in the back. This is like, yeah, this is looking dire for Diego.
Yeah. With a Grass Terra, you have to ask yourself, can I take Eruption? No!
Not in the slightest.
Oh.
That is a critical hit onto Iron Hands. That
I don't think it matters.
I'm not sure that was Specs Eruption. That does so much damage. So Iron Hands is KO'd. Flutter Mane, we hardly knew ye. See you later. It is
Alligator.
KO'd. Yes. It's the same color as an alligator.
Oh, yeah, true. Man, that was a pretty crazy match.
That was a great. That's what Trick Room teams can do, right? You're like I think AJ maneuvered that just impeccably well after realizing, okay, if Indeedee's gonna stick around, I can save that, get the psychic terrain later, and that was a huge benefit, right? It stopped.
yeah.
It's like it stopped sucker punches, stopped the fake out pressure.
It took damage for its teammates
Yeah.
too. The teammates that you don't want to have damage on.
yeah,
Right?
like-
It's already done its job. Yeah, it's follow me once. We're okay here. It's impressive how AJ was able to see. I think she really read into how Diego was going to play this match. So Diego for game one, he's coming in really aggressive. He wants to, take knockouts. But as we see with Trick Room teams, you don't want to take the first knockout on
No.
a support mon and bring in an offensive
No.
mon, right? And so looking back, he's like, okay, I got to stall my turns. What's likely to happen? Hatterene does a Dazzling Gleam to cover a knockout onto Chien-Pao, right? I'll switch in my Amoonguss. And AJ was fearless, just
Yes.
launches a psychic right on that spot.
That was such a pivotal momentum swing.
That wasn't even in psychic terrain.
Yeah, it just Life Orb Psychic for Hatterene has a higher special attack stat than Flutter Mane. It does so much damage when it gets the chance to do so, and like the way AJ was piloting it, it gets so many chances to just fire off those huge attacks, and that was huge.
Yeah, and then it later did go for the Dazzling Gleam, his worst fear when he initially switched in the Amoonguss. So I would say hats off to Hatterene.
Yeah, hats off to Hatterene. We'll be seeing Hatterene in the finals here. That was just the top four. They have one more match to go. We'll be setting that up very shortly, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with finals.